What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 10. Y'all, this show getting on my nerves. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all because they just... Let's go on and get into. So we start this episode off. We got Angie and Nate showing baby girl how it's done, house party. They doing the kid and play kick step, and Aunt Piggy comes in. She lets Angie know that she done been to a meeting, and how, even though she's going to her NA meetings and she trying to get herself together, something just don't feel right. She said she owes Tariq a conversation. He's a good man. And she said, listen, I know that the two of y'all are going through what y'all are going through, but he really is a good man. He's been sort of dealt a bum deal, and I owe him the truth. Like, I owe him a conversation. Now, while this is going on, we see Tariq giving his pitch to Teddy and the board about, the luxury boxes and everything like that. And, of course, he tells, it's over with. And, Teddy tells him that was a great job. And, he's looking forward to doing business with him. And then he says, hey, I need a favor from you. Can you go down to the police station and retrieve some paperwork from, what's his name? Jake. The one that died, that Morris' mama killed. And his face immediately drops. Because, again, it's one of those, okay, are you doing this for me because I'm like still your like little your little gopher or whatever? But of course he agrees to do it and all that good stuff. Now while this is going on, we got Raymond and his wife over to the house getting things together for Jack, not Jake. Jack's funeral. And Raymond said, listen, this might not be the best time to bring this up, but why would Lauren assume that you and Jack were having an affair? And she said, listen, the night of the diamond ball, he kissed me, but I didn't kiss him back. Lauren walked in on it. I should have told him, but me and you was beefing at the time. I know that, I wasn't sure how that was going to be received. And he was drunk. I know he didn't mean it. And Raymond was like, listen, I get it. Contrary to what your sister might think, I do understand what it's like when somebody kiss you and you don't kiss them back, but, Jack these last couple of years, he just hasn't been the guy that I always thought him to be. But right now, I got to focus on saving this company. And, it is what it is. And, of course, he's preoccupied with saving Darman. And she's just kind of, she's just kind of being pushed by the wayside. Now, Aunt Piggy told Angie. See, this is the part that made me mad. This part of the whole episode is what pissed me off. Aunt Piggy told Angie, I'm going to need you to keep playing the game until we figure out what's really going on and what Teddy really had to do with your mama getting arrested and what may have potentially happened as a result of that. I need you to keep playing your position because he's a snake. And when a snake feels cornered, they're going to slither away and then we ain't never going to catch him. So I don't know what the whole deal is, but I know that Teddy is involved and you got to keep snooping around and you got to maintain your access, right? She told her, play your position, play it cool. Don't let him know, don't let him see you sweat. Don't let him know your trump card, right? We down to a Grace of these event. They getting ready for the final event of the season. They're having like a little bake off where they have to find a recipe, an old family recipe. Not only does it have to taste good, but they have to be able to explain the recipe and the significance, the historical connection, yada yada yada. And it's the final event, and then they immediately vote. They're only taking 5 people, right? So, Angie and her sister talk. And she was like, girl, I got you. Don't you worry about it. You are a shoe-in. Just basically, I just need you to do well on this last little situation and you good. So then she says, well, I don't know what's going on, but, it's just some things with, some family things. And I just don't know if I can handle it. So Teddy walks up to her while the two of them are talking. And he goes to touch her and, basically congratulate her. And she yanks back from him and makes a scene in front of everybody at this Grace of these event. So don't touch me. I don't need your congratulations. And I'm thinking to myself, you had one job. You had one freaking job. That one job was for you to pretend like you weren't on to Teddy, or you didn't know anything, so that y'all could get what y'all needed to prove once and for all that Teddy was a snake. Because at the end of the day, let's remember, nobody on that island is going to really go along with you until you have the proof that you need, because he's so slick with it and he's so powerful. Because there are people that probably don't like him, but there's a power there. There's power there. And I was like, so now you done made a scene, you done draw attention to it, and now Teddy is on alert because he's like, damn, well, I thought we was doing good. I thought we had sort of moved to a certain spot, and here we go with this again. So she runs out of there, and like I said, of course, she causes a big scene. So Layla decides that, so she goes, Angie goes back to the house, and she's cooking, making this recipe with her daughter, and Layla shows up. And Layla is like, girl, what's going on with you? Like, I just need to get out that house. There's too much going on. I got too much on me. And what was all that about with you and Daddy? Like, he came up to congratulate you. You ran out of there. Like, what's really good? And so she hems and haws, but she finally comes out and says, listen, I have reason to believe that your father has something to do with my mom getting arrested. And, I know that you don't want, really want to believe that, but, like, I maybe I just went too fast. I moved too fast into this whole situation, and I might just need to take a step back. Maybe I, got too close too soon, and I need to chill out for a minute. And of course, Layla is like, girl, what you talking about? Like, I really felt like we had moved 1,000 miles, and now you're going back to the starting gate. Like, I'm just not understanding where this is. And so, she decides that she need to go talk to her mama, because she's like, listen, maybe my mama know more than, I'm going to rewind. Put a pin in that. So she shows, Angie the picture of her mother, Raymond's mother, and, Angie's mother all together, basically pledging the Grace Cities. They were all in the same pledge class. And she was like, basically, the night of the final event, the same event that she has coming up, is the night that her mother got arrested. And so she was like, again, she's like, well, it was just real coincidental, like, that all of this happened at the same time. And so that's when she was like, well, maybe mama know more, because, like, something happened. And maybe she know more than what is being said. So while this is going on, Aunt Piggy talks to Tariq and lets Tariq know, listen, I lied to you before. I did know your daddy. The guy you asked me about, I used to date him. He was no good. He was basically a fixer for Teddy when he needed things done that, weren't necessarily on the up and up. And she was like, he said, well, what kinds of things? She said, listen, he took those secrets to his grave. But what I will say to you is, your father was a good man. And I do think that, towards the end, your father was grappling with something that he had a hard time coming to grips with. And even if he did take his own life, just know that he ultimately was a good guy, and it didn't need to necessarily, it doesn't change who he was. And Tariq was like, thank you, I needed to hear that, I needed to know that. Now, while this is going on, Raymond went down to the police station because he's trying to get his hands on that paperwork too. Because, of course, if he can get his hands on that paperwork, even though Jack already signed it, Teddy never got it. And so, basically, it's as if the contract never existed, and he can keep 100% control of his company because now his partner is dead. It reverts to him. So, he goes down there, and the cop lets him know. The detective says, listen, I can't, Teddy's lawyers have already put an injunction. He's sending somebody down here right as we speak to pick the paperwork up for him. I really can't do nothing about it. I'm so sorry. But let me ask you some questions. He said, we have proof that there was a woman in the room with Jack that night. Do you have any idea who it could be? So, of course, Raymond was smooth with it. He was like, well, Jack has been known to, hire high-end escorts. And I really wouldn't want his family to, find out about him. So if we could just kind of keep that between the two of us, I'd appreciate it. But of course, we know it was his mama, okay? We know it was his mama. Now, Tariq ends up picking up the paperwork, and he has a flashback moment where he sees, I guess, the night that they found out that his father was dead. He's sitting in the chair at the police station. His mama is breaking down, having a whole black woman breakdown down to the funeral type situation. And Raymond walks up on him and is like, yo, you need some water. So he gives him some water. And he sits down with him because he sees he's got the papers in his hand. So he knows that Tariq is the one with the paperwork that he needs. So he tries to be nice to Tariq, and they end up having a conversation. And he was like, it's about my dad, and, I thought I was over it. And they kind of have, like, a really good conversation. He was like, let me get you some more water. So then they talk for about, maybe, TV time. They talk for a few minutes. And then Raymond was like, do you mind if I take a look at that paperwork? And Tariq was like, oh, that's what this was about. You really didn't give a damn about me. You want this paperwork. Oh, I see. He was like, see, that's who you've always been. You ain't never really gave a damn about me. You never really saw me for who I was. And then they talk about when they were in boarding school together, how Tariq was seen as the charity case. And Raymond was like, let's be fair. I used to invite you to do stuff with us, and you never wanted to go. And he was like, because I was a charity case. And then when stuff started coming up missing, everybody looked at me because I was the poor kid. He was like, and it was only about a handful of black kids in that whole school, and not once did you stand up for me. You knew me. We grew up together. You knew I wasn't a thief. Yet you didn't stand up for me, and you let the suspicion stay on me pretty much, I guess, however long it stayed on him. So he was like, basically, you kiss my ass, So then Angie comes home, and Aunt Piggy is sitting there, and she tells Angie that she talked to Tariq, and Tariq forgave her, but she can't forgive herself, and she gonna go down to that police station and turn herself in. And baby, she was like, no, please don't do it. So then she gets Nate to talk to her, and of course Nate gives her the jailhouse speech talking about you don't want nobody taking your freedom, and it's just taking me all this time to get myself back to normal, and like, find another way to deal with it, basically. And so she says, Aunt Piggy, will you please promise me that you will sleep on it before you turn yourself in? Now, Aunt Piggy had already told them there's really nothing you could say to change my mind, but she agreed to sleep on it. But I knew then, I said, she ain't sleeping on shit. She just want them to shut up and leave her the hell alone, basically. So then Layla has a conversation with Raymond. And, he's telling her what happened, that Tariq got the shares, yada, yada, yada. But she was like, I know that nobody trusts my daddy. I know nobody loves my daddy. But, I just can't turn my back on him because I know that, I know he would never hurt me. And Raymond was like, are you sure? You might want to ask your mama. So that's what made her go talk to her mama. So next thing you know, we see her going to visit her mom. And her mama seemed to be doing good, having a lucid moment. And she starts asking her mom about when she was, becoming a member of the Great Cities and what happened that night. And she was like, Dad was going to leave you, right? And she was, she said, well, Dad was going to leave me. Your father was going to leave me, and I couldn't let that happen. And she started talking in code again, But basically what I picked up was her mama might be the one that set Eve up. That's what it sounded like to me, because she was like, I couldn't let him leave. I couldn't let him do that to me. Some bad things happened that night. So, of course, right as she's having this breakdown, here come Teddy. And he done brought the orderly in there to drug her up. And he tells Layla, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? And she said, well, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. Angela seems to think that you set her mom up. And he was like, I didn't set her up. I got her the best lawyer on the island. Like, why would I do that if I set her up? He said, but I tell you what, it's clear that Angela, I've tried to, get nice to her. Get close to her. I tried to, make this one big happy family, but it's clear that that's not going to work, that she can't seem to get past all of this. So you need to handle it. Like, you need to take care of it. And I was like, see, Angela, all you had to do was play your position. Keep it cool, but you can't do that. And of course, Layla has actually come to love Angela. Like, I really think she's really come to love her as a sister, and she don't want to do nothing to her. But of course, the obvious choice is not let her be in the Great Cities and her ass leave town. Like, that's duh. So then we have this moment between Raymond and his mama, where his mama is still trying to basically, control him and tell him what he need to be doing. And he was like, Mama, let me explain something to you. You are no longer in charge, okay? You are not in charge of me anymore. Let's be clear. And the look she had at the end of that conversation, I'm really not too sure what that look meant. I'm not sure if that look was impressed. I'm not sure if that look was fear, because he basically threatened to give the police the evidence to prove that she was the one in Jack's room if she ain't back up. So we're down to the final event, and they, the ladies come around to Angie's table, and she explains to them that her recipe isn't an old family recipe. And again, I'm sitting here like, girl, once again, and Raymond's mother was like, so once again, here you are proving that the rules just don't apply to you. And she was like, no, that's not it. She said, but I just don't come from a family that has a long list of recipes that have been passed down from generation to generation. But what I did have was, my mother she spent a lot of time in the kitchen, not cooking, but making these hair care products. So what I did do was I took some of the ingredients that she put in her conditioner, and I infused it into this pound cake. So it was like rosemary and whatever, rosewood. Anyway, the damn flavors, okay? And, Raymond's mama quizzed her, but she actually did do a really good job. She did a really good job. And then when they tasted the cake, baby, even Raymond's mama was like, oh, this cake is good. Like, pound cake is my favorite dessert, and this is exceptional. So after that happened, Layla was like, girl, well, I think it's suffice to say that you are in. Like, you are a part of the Graceties. Here is where Angie's mouth gets her in trouble once again. She basically tells Angela, well, I still think that our father had something to do with setting my mother up. And Layla was like, why would you think that? Like, it was crack, girl. She was like, what you trying to... She's like, my daddy wouldn't have nothing to do with crack. She was like, oh, and my mother would? Like, what you trying to say? And Layla was like, girl, ooh, child. She said, well, I'm just letting you know that I can't let this go. Like, I can't let this go until I find out what happened to my mom. Like, I owe her that. And Angie was like, listen, Layla was like, girl, let's talk about this later. Like, and Angie tells her, well, I just need you to know that I will tear this island up. I will turn over every rock on this island until I get the answers that I need. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you expect from this woman? That is still her father. And you are basically declaring war on her and her father. Like, what do you think is going to happen here? And again, I go back to what Aunt Peggy told you, play your position. Like, the woman just told you were in. The woman just told you, basically, you are in. Shut your mouth for 24 hours, girl. 24 hours is all you had to do. Shut your mouth. Now, while this is going on, Tariq and Raymond are having a conversation, and Raymond apologizes, and he tells Tariq, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, it was Jack who was stealing. I knew it was him. I didn't speak up for you, but I did turn him in. That's why he got expelled. But you're right. I should have, I was wrong, and I apologize. I was a dumb kid who really thought that I had to be friends with this guy because of our family ties. I didn't even understand that I had a choice of who I wanted to be friends with. And so he's doing this whole apology thing, and then here come Teddy. And Tariq says, Teddy, I got those papers for you. I'll bring them by the office later on. Right? And so Raymond is giving Tariq a look like, damn, like I thought that was working. Like, I thought I had you. So then we have the vote. Needless to say, I ain't even going to go through the drama. Angie ass ain't get in. But Angie wasn't getting in because she ain't know how to keep her damn mouth shut. But the sad thing was, it came down to a tie. And Layla had to make the deciding vote. And Layla was the one who voted no. So, of course, Angie runs out. She mad. And Tariq goes to her later on that night, and he apologizes. And he says, listen, I know I've been tripping, girl. I know that I've been pulling away from you. But please know that, I want to work things out, that I love you, and I'm going to prove to you, that I'm worthy or whatever. He gives her a kiss, and she was like, thank you for letting me know. I'll talk to you later. I said, I know that's right, Angie. He can't treat you like shit for weeks, and then, in this show, days. And then he want to come back around, and now he over it. I'm supposed to be over it. Whatever. I call you when I feel like calling you. Now the other thing Tariq did was Tariq did take Raymond those papers. Tariq took Raymond those papers. And Raymond was like, how about me and you work together? Like, Teddy will never see it coming. He was like, I need you to stay the inside man. I need you to keep playing that inside position. But me and you be working together. And Tariq was like, cool, I'm with it. Because, I'm done being Teddy's flunky, whatever. Layla goes to Raymond and she is in tears because she is so hurt by what she did. Because, again, she kind of, like, Angie, you kind of pushed her into the wall. Like, I don't know what you thought was gonna happen, girl. Anyway, last but not least, Aunt Piggy done turned herself in, child. She done left him a letter explaining, like, I'm sorry, I know that I promised you, but I can't do it, and I'm turning myself in, love, peace, and happy, and hair grease. So that's the episode, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.